Welcome back. This is episode 6 of Think Sip Right, and for this episode we actually got a request. Someone wrote in and asked if I could talk about the first author. That's kind of a tough one to do, but I did some research and actually found some pretty cool things out. So we can't really go back to the first author. Obviously, a long time ago they didn't put names to anything, and there was never really published work before a certain period, other than hieroglyphics and things like that. But the first male author that they're saying is the first published author who had credited work was Shin-eqi-unninni. After I did that about 4 times, I think I finally got it right. He was an exorcist and priest between 1300 BC and 1000 BC. And he's credited with writing the Epic of Gilgamesh on 12 stone tablets. Now, if you're not familiar with Gilgamesh, the story is actually really interesting. It's been a long time since I've read it, but there's a lot of things that have in that you could find in the Bible and the Quran and all those other cool ancient texts. Stories like the Great Flood, Adam and Eve. It even talks about zombies and other neat supernatural things. It's actually one of the best works of all time, still considered. Now, where Gilgamesh was an actual story, the first female author is credited with writing hymns and psalms. She was the daughter of King Sargon of Akkad and a high priestess of the moon god Nana. And she did poems for her mother. Her name was Enheduanna. And I think I butchered that too. So I don't know what to tell you there. Anyway, she was one of the earliest women in history whose name is known. Enheduanna was the first woman to hold the title of priestess, basically high priestess. She's credited with 3 main poems, Inanna and Ebi, Lady of Largest Heart, and the Exaltation of Inanna, which is about her mother. We know that she's credited with these because her name is referenced in numerous spots in the beginning, before the text starts, and in the beginning of each of the 3 poems. That was the first male and female author recorded. Obviously, we've been writing on cave walls long before that, but those were the first 2 accredited, published works, if that's what you want to call it. So then I was asked one more question a few weeks ago about who inspired me as author. So I have a couple authors that I always kind of give credit to for making me want to write and get into writing, actually getting me into reading in the first place. I'll throw aside Stephen King. He's always the first, but I'm not going to credit him as wanting to make me write. He made me want to read. One of the authors that I find fascinating was Bob Mayer. And I loved his Area 51 series and his Time Patrol series that's out now. Brad Thor is another one. His Scott Harvath series I've always loved. There's actually a new one coming out, so I'm looking forward to that. James Patterson's Alex Cross series I've always found entertaining. The movies were okay. They weren't that great. I understand, I think they're making another one, but I'm always interested in seeing the books come to film. Obviously, Dan Brown was a big one. I kind of wish he would release his books a little faster, but when they're released, they're worth the wait. The last 2 are kind of a little different than most people would pick. L. Frank Baum, who wrote the original 15 Wizard of Oz novels, he is one of my biggest inspirations. That was the first series that I actually read all the way through, and I loved it. And I got to give credit to the man, Stan Lee. Everything he created with Marvel is kind of what got me into enjoying the fiction world anyway. So that's all I really have. This is a short episode. I'll put a couple things in a slideshow at the end. Make sure to click, like, share. I loved having the suggestions, so keep them coming. And make sure to follow me on social media and subscribe to this channel. Cheers.